Hello, people of the world watching new vehicle reviews on the internet. Welcome to this, the end of the Lexus LC500. 2026 is the final model year for this car, and then it is sadly discontinued. So today, let's get it up in the air, nerd out in the tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then go give it a proper send-off. So first things first, this color you notice right here, copper crest, has actually already been discontinued. So for the final model year, you can't order this color, sadly. This is probably one of the best colors. Well, the exhaust finisher on the back bumper is fake. It's not really attached to the exhaust system. It is metal. Of course, there are quad tips. Stainless muffler, and it does have active valves before the muffler, weirdly enough. Out back, the LC500 utilizes a multi-link rear suspension configuration with aluminum knuckles. The rear dampers, which mount fairly high on that knuckle, are adaptive and manufactured by KYB in Japan. Oh, how cute. The anti-sway bar end link has a child. That's for the headlights. Housed in the center of a steel rear subframe is the optional Torsen limited slip rear differential with a 2.937 final drive ratio. Thinned aluminum diff cover for heat dissipation. It also has the Yamaha Performance Rear Chassis Damper, which is stuffed into the abyss. The rear anti-sway bar, which is mounted above the subframe. That's fun. About 21 millimeters in diameter. The Lexus LC500 chassis code URZ100 is built on the TNGA L platform and has been in production since 2017 now. The bespoke V8 package, as you see above, weighs in at 4,340 pounds with a 54 to 46 front to rear weight distribution. Moving up in the center, because this is the V8 car, it does have a H-pipe right here in the center. Quad resonators, all stainless in construction. Has a X-pipe here in the center, which is tucked up above a steel chassis brace. Mid-pipes measure in at approximately 64 millimeter and change diameter, or a little more than 2.5 inch SAE each. As far as the transmission is concerned, all LC500s now come standard with the Toyota Aisin AWR 10L65 direct shift 10-speed automatic transmission with a maximum torque input rating of 650 newton meters or 479 pound-feet. The hybrid drivetrain has been discontinued for 2026. Well, what do you go to? Huh, access that strap right there possibly, or a fitting. The entire underside, all hairy cardboard for luxury's sake. You can see the drive shaft is tucked in a cavity up above this heat shield above the exhaust. Beefy aluminum transmission crossmember. I appreciate the aluminum lift points. Not many vehicles do this. As far as ease of maintenance, other than the drive shaft situation and this under engine panel, oh wow, look at all the heat shielding on either side. Interesting. Over here on the driver's side, you can see the steering shaft, motor mounts, more chassis bracing. One of the downsides of the bespoke build on the LC500 is you do not have the option for the dynamic handling package, which comes with the VGRS variable ratio steering rack along with rear wheel steering. This just has standard electric assist power steering with 2.6 turns lock to lock. Up front, you get a double jointed, all aluminum in construction, multi-link suspension configuration. Like the rear, also aluminum knuckles. Up above, you have some forged aluminum upper arms, and again, those KYB adaptive coilover strut front dampers. A front anti-sway bar measures in at approximately 35 millimeter in change diameter. Well, I give you a little access area to do your oil changes. Kind of hard to see anything up here. That's metal. Why? The under chin area, that's plastic, textured plastic. Time for the braking test. Nothing behind me. Ready, set, stop. Wow. That was so quiet. There was a little bit of a squirm and shimmy left to right, but so quiet. There was no drama from the ABS. Stopping distance was way shorter than what I was anticipating. I knew it was gonna be short, but that was even shorter. That braking was just made possible thanks to a 6-piston monoblock caliper with a 400mm or 15.7-inch two-piece front rotor. The wheels, they're optional 21x8 with a positive 25mm offset forged alloy manufactured in Taiwan, wrapped in a set of 245 40 21-inch Michelin Pilot Sport 5S tires. Inner fender liners are hairy carpet. Ride height is enough to get my foam fingers stuck. You can see the front vents are functional. LED DRLs, triple LED headlight. This one has a black chrome accents around the grille, front facing cam. This area right here with the side vent doesn't do it justice seeing it on camera. If you ever see one of these in person, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just such a massive presence. The rear inner fender liners are a plastic composite type. Out back, you get a 4-piston monoblock caliper with a 358mm or 14.1-inch rotor. The wheels are staggered at a 21x9.5 with a positive 25mm offset, wrapped in a set of 275 35 21-inch Pilot Sport 5S tires. In the name of science, it is now time to give it the beans. But first, assessment of bolstering. Perfect bolstering. This bespoke build has the seats finished in black leather with the Alcantara suede in the center. The seats are heated, ventilated, and in the center there's only one button that you press, which brings up the menu for both front seats for either heat or ventilation, or you can put it in auto and it will base it on what you have the climate control set to for a temperature. There are also 3-way memory. As far as drive modes go, there are the bull horns up here on the clamshell. That was a sentence. I can rotate that and go from eco to comfort. Press the center for normal, or again for custom. Inside there, you can adjust powertrain, chassis, or air conditioning. To Sport S or Sport S Plus. On the left side, I also have snow mode, or I can press it for traction control off, or if in S Plus mode, put it into expert. I can pull the drive lever back to the left to put it in drive, or straight back to put it into manual mode, where I then have some magnesium flappy paddles on the back of the steering wheel that turn when you turn. I'm gonna leave it in drive, however, and give this thing a little assistance and let it eat. Ready? Go. All right, little squirm of the tires. Oh my God. I'm not even gonna say anything. That's good. No need to talk during that, just enjoy the sound. This thing rips, I don't care what it says on paper. Opens the hood. That is a very light hood for how big it is. Underneath the hood of the Lexus LC500 is none other than the 2UR GSE, which is a 5-liter all aluminum naturally aspirated 4-cam V8 that produces 471 horsepower at 7,100 RPM and 398 pound-feet of torque at 4,800 RPM. And sadly, this is also farewell to this engine along with the rest of the UR Toyota Lexus naturally aspirated V8s. The 4.6, the 5.7, they're already gone. The Lexus RCF and the GSF already gone, and the IS500 F Sport Performance and this LC500 are following right behind it. I'm gonna remove the engine cover, get a better look underneath here. Plastic. Unfortunately, the intake manifold isn't anodized blue like you'd get on the RCF. I thought that was really pretty design that they did. Digging a little bit deeper on this 4,969cc V8, it is over squared at a 94 by 89.5mm bore and stroke with a 12.3:1 compression ratio. Moving up into the cylinder heads, which are designed by Yamaha, it features Toyota's variable valve timing intelligent, hydraulically controlled on the exhaust valves, electrically controlled on the intake valves, and those intake valves, they are made from titanium. This also employs Toyota's D4S, both port and direct fuel injection to help keep the back of the intake valves clean. Now the valve covers, you can see, have a slightly darker hue to them compared to all the other aluminum components, and that's because I believe these are made from magnesium. You can see it has dual air boxes, one behind each headlight, funneling into a single throttle body. Because of the big plastic engine cover, they can get a way of hiding the injector drivers on top of the valve cover. The center mass of the engine is a little bit shifted towards the rear of the vehicle in relation to the strut towers. You can see the strut towers are aluminum and cambered as far inward towards the engine as possible. You can see they put the coolant bypass hard pipes above the intake manifold, which on the UZ series engines was tucked up underneath it, a nightmare to get to. I have to say, this is the swan song right here of Toyota, Lexus, and Yamaha. I am going to miss this engine. Utilizes an electronic brake booster. What is this for? Oh, it's removable. Oh, that's cute. So you can access the puke tank cap. Hey, it actually uses real oil, 5W30, not some crazy 0W nothing. Oh my God, the sound of this thing. I can't keep saying it enough. Even just hearing it on camera doesn't do it justice for how it sounds in person. It gives you a tingle like in your senses, like eating something spicy does, but for your ears. Handling's nice and flat. Yeah, it's a heavier car, but yeah, compared to a lot of new cars, it weighs less than a Hellcat used to. It's surprising though, for it weighing just over 4,000 pounds, the tread width of the tires, only a 285 in the rear. I kind of thought it would have, I don't know, I was expecting to have a little bit wider of a meat on this thing, but it still has plenty of grip. It's actually probably a nice balance to give it a little bit of playfulness. It just wants more. It wants you to give it more. And it's not that type of a car though. It's nice that it can put that kind of a smile on your face, cornering wise, but it's a Grand Tourer. Oh yeah. The suspension's firm, but firm in a good way. The 10-speed auto in this car is fantastic. It would have been amazing if they would have done a rare edition with a 6-speed manual, but I don't think Toyota Aijin makes a manual transmission that would really work for this application anymore. The newer form of the AZ6, I think it's called, that's found in the BRZ and the 86, I don't think can handle the torque. And then the transmission that's in the Supra is not actually a Toyota transmission. That is gone out the door anyway, so I don't know if I've ever driven this car with the dynamic handling package. And if it makes it any better than it already is right now, I think that right there is the package that is the must-have. The Bespoke is nice because it's essentially a sport package. You do get the Torsen diff and the Yamaha chassis damper, but I think I would have to go for just a base LC with the dynamic handling package to have the rear wheel steering and the better steering rack. Now for 2026, they do have that Inspiration series, I believe it's called. The color is a matte finish, which if you're into detailing cars, you know, can be kind of a nightmare to take care of, but it has an absolutely gorgeous white interior. There's a lot of fun, just unique options that you can customize and spec these cars out with. Whoa, it stinks like skunk. I'm gonna bring this thing down to manual mode, play around with that for a bit. Crisp downshift. Punch it. Will it shift for me? Nope. It'll bounce off rev limiter. It is a true manual mode. Those shifts, they just bang off. They're fast for this being a traditional automatic and not a dual clutch. The sound on diesel. It's like a little when it shifts. It's like it's got CH in front of the brap. It's like sharap. The trunk popper is in the corner. Pop that. While the trunk is shallow, it is wide and it is pretty deep. The underside of the lid is soft fabric lined with a little handle for closing. There's a vent at the very back of the rear seat, a little first aid pouch, as well as a tire inflator kit. I grabbed this little latch and lift area where you'd keep a tool kit, and underneath here is the rear 12-volt mounted battery. The top portion of the taillight is actually a smoked bronze chrome like you have in the front, and then the lower portion is a metallic gunmetal. The inner substructures on the trunk lid and the doors are all raw forged carbon fiber. Raw and glossed carbon fiber on the same piece, no less. I have physically shoved myself into this cavity behind the driver's seat. It is here for purposes unknown. I don't even know if that's true, if it actually lowers your insurance, and if it is, they need to hire people with higher IQs to write laws for insurance. There's more Alcantara suede back here. I'm not even, oh, come on, if I don't, someone will complain. All right, go ahead, crush my toes. I'm sure someone will enjoy that. It's actually somewhat gentle. Comes a little bespoke build plaque and a piece of special Japanese paper signifying your bespoke build. Behind this door, oh, that's metal, there's a little cup holder. There's a button right here to manually raise the speed dependent rear spoiler. There are some vents above the glove box. Press this button and it mechanically opens. It's all flock lined. Center console, slide that, and there's another cup holder. You can lift it. There's more USB charge ports. You go to close it, and it soft closes. This one does not have a sunroof. It is a carbon fiber roof to save on weight. There are physical controls for the infotainment system down here in the center, as well as some little dials on the side. The infotainment screen was updated not too long ago, and it's appropriately sized for the dash. It's not distracting. It just kind of blends in nicely up into the design of the dash. But when they updated the infotainment system, it lost that weird glass looking panel that was over here. I really liked that. Either way, it's still nice materials, but it is also a dark blue background, not that typical paper white like you get in Toyota vehicles. It doesn't have any fancy multicolor ambient lights like you get in a Mercedes or an Audi, but it's very classy in here. It doesn't need it. I've said it in past reviews before, this is my benchmark. This is the best of the best for me when it comes to car audio systems in vehicles. The Mark Levinsons that are found in Lexuses. The LC, it's a smaller cabin, so they can't fit as much speaker in here as you can in the larger vehicles. The LS sedan, I believe, was the best I'd reviewed out of any vehicle, but it does not disappoint in the LC. Press this for the camera. Oh, it's copper crest. It's the correct color. Neat. I mean, they're close. The copper crest kind of looks brownish and nori green looks like golf course grass green, but oh, I don't think you can get flare yellow anymore either. The gauges are digital with a little robotic dial in the center that shifts over mechanically. You can view some telemetry on the side of the gauge cluster, tire pressure, wing position. When this car first launched in 2017, it was criticized for not the greatest 0 to 60 time, quarter mile times for the look of the car and the sound of it, largely because of the weight. But in 2025, 0 to 60 times are as relevant of a measure of quality of a performance car as a size of a social media following is for an online personality. It's just an oversaturated, irrelevant unit of measure at this point. The way to really stand out now when everything is powered by a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder or some form of hybridization or full electric is sound. Sound is something that AI can technically replicate and pump through some speakers, and it can be enjoyable, especially if it's an electric car that makes spaceship noises instead of trying to simulate an internal combustion engine. But that's where a naturally aspirated V8, like the one in this, stands out and shines, because it's a rarity. Other than the Coyote and Ford products, there really isn't anything kind of like it out there on the market anymore. And honestly, if you look at the fuel economy on this thing, over the week I've been driving it, I was actually averaging just over 20 miles per gallon cruising with this thing. And if you use it as a grand tourer, you can actually get fairly decent fuel economy. If you're in the loud pedal, it'll drink the gas some, just like you will with a forced induction 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder or forced inducted V6. The build quality, I feel like you could drive this car for 300,000 miles and it would take it like a champ. And for costing just over $100,000, it actually starting to feel more of a deal when you look at the fact that regular pickup trucks and SUVs and soccer automobiles are over $100,000. It is now time to give the LC500 Bespoke V8 some scores, starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in the gut when you give it the beans. And it's getting a rating of. Next is a cookie score, the assessment of value. And for a 2026 bespoke model with the V8, similar equipped to this, about $112,000, it gets a rating of. As I mentioned before, Copper Crest was discontinued for 25, but Lexus still lists 25 on their website because dealers still have new 25s in stock. They don't sell a lot of these cars. So it doesn't really matter. The only thing that changed for 26 is an ugly wheel option, and they got rid of the best color. Yeah. Next is the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and it gets a rating of. Next is the squid score, the assessment of handling, and it gets a rating of. And lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the LC500, the V8, gets a rating of. A lot of people say the LFA was peak Lexus, and I'll agree that was a phenomenal car, but this is the underdog champ right here, and I think this is going to be a special, very rare car 20 or 30 years from now. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you soon with another. Bye!
This video is sponsored by me, my very own car detailing product company, RoboBubble, made in USA. And if you'd like to use what I use to keep my cars clean and also support this channel, this is how you can on my website, sarahantune.com. Thanks!
Oh, there's a car driving by. Lovely.